In a podcast. Andre, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I mean, just waiting to hear everybody's opinions over what's being made new from being old. That's
Yep.
all.
So basically, this episode is going to be pretty much all about the remakes, because some of y'all are really upset about this. This is actually hilarious to me. Um, now me personally about the whole remakes thing, I've said this when we were with the games at large, and I'm still saying the same thing. If it comes from six gen and below, you're not going to ever hear me complain about that, because to be honest, those games were in SD, and I think some of those games, like Final Fantasy VII, which arguably, and it depends on your viewpoint, is seen to be as a game changer in a genre. I think it deserves to have a little HD remake and a little love shown through it, because like for me, my SNES stopped working like 2 years ago. Not 2 years ago, probably about 10 years ago. My N64, I had to get another one, and I was luckily able to find another one. My Dreamcast went dead in 2010. So I don't get mad when people want to remake some of my favorite games. If you want to remake some of my favorite games, I'm all for it. Like I said, if it's from that genre, there's only a select few that I don't get mad about, and I will explain why. One is when they redid Bayonetta to port to the Switch, and when they did Mario Kart to port to the Switch. I got those, but I'll tell you the reason why. My nephew and niece broke their Wii U. I gave them mine so they could have it. If I still had my Wii U, I wouldn't have got those ports. But those are two games that I enjoy, and so I got them. I'm glad they got ported, but I wouldn't have been mad if they didn't, because it is what it is. I prefer to have stuff ported from, or remaked or remastered or whatever, from 6 gen and below, because that's the SD gen. So before we get started, let's talk about the rumor that's probably more true than anything, of the 35th anniversary for Mario, which is this year, and I did not realize that it was
Yeah,
actually this
nobody
year.
did.
This year, and the rumor is there are a number of Mario games that will be remastered. Uh, well, not remastered, but remade this year. We don't know which ones. People are guessing about those, but supposedly there are a few, more than a few, that are being redone. My question to you, Andre, is which ones do you think should make the cut?
Okay, off the bat, both Galaxy games, right off the bat. Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 definitely should be up for remasters. I say also Mario 64 should be up for a remaster. Like it's not like, and I made the statement when Super Mario I almost said Sunshine, and I know that's wrong. But when the last one got Odyssey, I don't know why I blanked out on that. When that got announced, I had already made the comment. It looks like Super Mario 64 in HD, and
Yeah,
it's not like they couldn't use that engine and remake that game.
yeah, and let's not forget that in the Odyssey game there are paintings that you jump into.
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't make much sense to get upset if they're going to be doing that. But like, and I'd also say if they're going to do some of the older games, go back and remake the original, and possibly Super Mario World. I wouldn't redo all of them, but go back and redo the first Super Mario Brothers game, and go
Mhm.
back and redo Super Mario World, because those were big impact games.
So would you HD 2.5D, or would you do that? What is it called? The thing they did with the Octopath Traveler, that HD 2D
For
for the
I'd actually do two separate styles. I do the art style similar to Octopath Traveler for the first Mario game,
hmm
because you can make higher, better detailed backgrounds.
hmm
But for Super
World.
Mario World, I'd do 2.5D for that.
That makes sense. That actually makes sense. Do you know the game that I actually wouldn't mind them remaking, but people would get so mad if they do, and that's Sunshine. Sunshine in 3D,
Ah,
3D World,
any of the
not
3D
3D World.
games,
3D Land, the one
yeah,
from the DS. 3D
yeah,
Land, not
yeah.
3D World.
Any of the 3D style games, I would have no problem with them redoing,
Mm.
as long as it's something before the Wii U.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because like even in a few of the DS games are actually pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Like the Gold Rush game where you actually had to, they gave you the head brick that turned gold and you just ran and collected coins. Just
Honestly, I
run.
thought they honestly when they were talking about doing New Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, I thought it was going to be a collection, and that's what it should have been from
That's what I
the
thought too.
whole New Super Mario Brothers series.
And
Would have
maybe
made
that's
more
what they were
sense.
waiting on. Maybe they were waiting on this to do that because you know, for some reason, and I know this is gonna sound like me just being a Metroid fanboy, but I hate that they always skip over Metroid when they do these anniversaries.
Oh yeah, they definitely do.
Because they skipped, because I think her, what was it, 87, hers came out in 87, so 2000, was it 7 and 2017, they did nothing for Metroid, nothing
Yeah,
at all.
that's right. Because it was in line with Zelda,
Yeah,
and boy, you heard all the stuff about Zelda, but Metroid got completely overlooked.
I'm talking about Zelda had like they did the three books, the art book, the information book, the because they all one of them was red for power, one of them was blue for wisdom, and one of them was green. I'm like, where's all this love for Metroid that people say they love Metroid,
Uh,
say they
That's
love Metroid?
that's the
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
The
So
sales don't reflect that.
like yeah, so I would love for them to do one for Metro, but they'd have to wait another couple years, and I don't think people want to wait. Well, I know people that are fans of it don't want to wait.
Yeah, people that are fans do not want to wait.
Yeah, they feel like they've waited too long as is. So I mean, hey, it is what it is. But honestly, as far as the Mario stuff is concerned, I'm not hating on the idea because there's just way too many games for them to do all of them. I know they're not doing all of them.
There's
That's
no
ridiculous.
way in the world they're doing all of
Yeah,
them.
that's ridiculous. There's just way too many. But if they do like 1 through 3 or 1 through 3 in World and maybe because I do think they're doing the Galaxy games, even though the Galaxy games look damn good on the Wii for what they were.
They could look much better.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like how that would look on the actual Switch in HD.
It would look something like Odyssey, but it would just have that rotating world thing like it did.
Yeah, I just find it because like when you look at them when they played on the actual Wii, they looked way better than they should.
Yeah, they did because they paid attention to the details of the game.
Yeah,
It's the
that's
same
why.
thing when it came down to Metroid Other M, where it looked
Yeah,
like it was a game that was built in HD, but it was then ran on or it
on the
ran
Wii.
in SD.
Yeah, that's why I would love for and it's another one that's probably gonna get me cussed out in the comments, but I would love for other M to get like an actual HD upgrade
It
as
should.
well as well as the trilogy, as well as the Metroid Prime trilogy.
Both
Uh,
of them should.
the only problem with other M that I had was the story, but the problem was that's what the vocal minority who never played a Metroid game kept calling for, and I'm like, I could tell y'all hadn't played this series because the stuff y'all asking for, that's not what this series is. We
Hey,
want
they
full
got
voice acting. We want. I'm like, who's she gonna talk to? Like who? Who?
like even when they had the Marines with her, she really didn't talk to them
Talk?
much.
Yeah. I'm like the only one she talked to was the obligatory black friend that's in
Hey,
all
hey, hey, he
stuff.
was the one that stuck by her
Yeah.
most of the way.
And he's that black friend that won't ever shut up. He like, dude, man,
He's
seriously,
the one that won't ever shut up, but he's right most of the time too.
yeah. Like, are you from TSA? That's what you thinking when you see that. But yeah, what was it, Anthony Michael Higgins or something like that was his name or
Yeah, I
something.
think that's what his name was.
The funness of Mr. Higgins, man, he was awesome. So yeah, it's one of those situations where I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, this would be so cool if they actually did that, if they actually did it, but I don't know if they would or not. So
More than likely not.
yeah, I wish they would. Me being a Metroid fan as I am,
As much as that series actually deserves it, yeah, it should get done, but it won't. And it's
Yeah,
not because of the series quality. It's just because of popularity.
yeah, that's true. I mean, it's one of those situations where you're like, you wish it was, but it more than likely ain't gonna be.
And then people sit and still complain about it. But like, but these are the same people that won't buy the games new; they'll buy them used,
Yeah, and
or
then
they'll
get and then
pirate.
and then wonder why I supported the game. Like, no, really, you didn't.
Nah,
You just you didn't. When you buy it, you don't. That's not supporting the game or the
because it
series.
doesn't count towards their sales numbers for it. It's a used game. It's a used
Yeah,
copy.
it counts toward whatever you whoever you bought it from.
Yeah.
That's who it counts toward. It doesn't count toward. That's why when I hear people talk about F Zero, which you know what, that's another one they probably should
Yeah. Oh no.
remake, like the
If they,
GX.
I was gonna say if they were to do that, I want them to do a GX, AX, and X, GX, and AX. Just combine them all into one game.
Yeah, because
Just have all those tracks.
I'm of the I'm of the idea that you know what, it's one of those situations where if you're gonna do it right. But the other thing too is, you ever notice like when you bring up like Fast Racing Neo, how many people who claim they love F Zero don't like Fast Racing Neo? I'm like, Fast Racing Neo is easier than F Zero.
Yeah, it's
Like,
far easier than F
what
Zero.
game have you been playing?
I don't know what people think. Like when you get, especially when you get into the expert tiers playing F Zero, that game gets difficult,
Yeah,
and that's why I like it so much because it gets perpetually harder. As you get better at that game, the game requires more of you to actually be able to win those races.
yeah. It's
It's not
not
like it's not
easy.
like Daytona USA or freaking Need for Speed, which in their own right those can be difficult too. But I'm sorry, F Zero takes the cake when it comes down to difficult racing games.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
did, I did, I did seen people sit down and play this game for 3, 4 hours and be mad as hell because they can't beat one race.
hmm Which brings us to the Extreme G series.
Oh yeah, I'd be all for that too.
Yeah,
Get a whole full remaster of all the games in that series.
but and that's the thing. And the games I'm mentioning are all from like 6 gen and below. So I, that's why I don't get the. I guess you say I don't get the people getting mad about it. It's cool if your systems still work and you got all the systems. Everybody don't have all the systems though, so they can't just like go and pop in the game. And gonna be completely honest too, because I have my N64 hooked up to my 55-inch 4K
It
TV.
does
It
not
don't look right. It
because
just doesn't.
the pixels are being stretched too far.
Yeah, it just doesn't look right. I mean, I know people love it, but my 19-inch TV from college has finally went kaput. So it don't look right, and
Yeah.
there's don't look right on no HD TV
No.
without the original how it's supposed to look. Now, if you have all that in your crib and everything, and I do, more power to you. I'm glad you can enjoy it, but don't get mad at other people for enjoying the remake remaster situation.
No,
Now,
like I think I get mostly where it's coming from, and that's when games that are not that old get redone.
yeah,
And
Last
again,
of Us,
nothing gets changed, and
Last of Us, we're looking at you.
they're still pretty much identical to what it was. I can understand that.
Yeah,
Or when Activision decided that they were going to remaster, or it was
Call of Duty,
Call of
Modern
Duty,
Warfare.
yeah, Modern Warfare, and
Yeah,
then they also charged people for the DLC. I'm like,
wait a minute.
this was already out. You
Yeah,
mean to
why are
tell me
you?
you can't get people the whole package?
And let's be honest, Modern Warfare 2 came out what, 2009? Two came out 2009, right? 2009, 2010, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in that time
Yeah.
frame.
So I'm like, dude, the game's over 10 years old. Wow. Y'all tripping. Y'all wilding. So, but yeah, that's a corporation for you. So,
Like I get I get that side of the argument, but if it's older games that a lot of people probably likely never had a chance to play in the first place,
yeah.
no, I'm not gonna be mad that they remastered them.
Yeah. So, is it really an issue? Not really. I mean, it just depends. And Like our good buddy Induo always says, talk with your wallet.
Now, there is the other argument, and I was just thinking about that. There is
What's that?
another argument where where you're thinking about it, where Hollywood does do a lot of remakes of movies, but movies aren't interactive.
That's true.
Video games are,
That's true.
and that's the big problem there.
And let's be honest, when Hollywood does a remake of a 1980s movie, usually that 1980s movie really didn't hold up that well. It really didn't. So we have fond memories of stuff that really kind of sucks now.
Yeah,
We do that
like
from sitting in classes. So
I get why people would be upset about that though, because when they remake movies, especially ones that are supposed to be more cheesy, more goofy, and they go ahead and try to make them serious, that becomes the problem.
yeah,
That's the problem.
that
But,
is the problem. That is a very big problem when that
but
happens.
yeah, but if they're left if they're left with the magic that made them great intact, just look better and possibly have new people, fine.
Yeah, yeah. So
And also, if they, as long as they don't change, the race of the characters from the
which they
original,
which they will do.
that that I see
Diversity
as diversity for the sake of diversity is not diversity.
is not diversity.
It's actually far more excluding than anything, because you're changing things that should have been left alone.
Yeah,
But we're not going to dive down that rabbit hole. We've dove down it enough and made
yeah,
enough jokes about that. So
yep.
that's just a little anecdote right this moment.
And most of those jokes are still funny.
Oh no, all of them are. I'm
Yeah.
not. All of them are. I,
So
not to sound like uh, um, not to sound full of myself, but all of those jokes were great.
yeah,
So we're
they're so awesome. So last week Nintendo did spring up on us the direct, the mini direct as they called it, even though it was damn near
that,
30 minutes.
that was no mini direct.
Yeah,
That was regular direct. I don't know
yeah,
why they called it. The closest you could say to it being a mini direct was that all the previews were short. They
yeah,
crammed that direct with like 40 games.
yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah. So and the reason, and we did do a play by play, and once again I do apologize. I had a plan for how it was gonna go, but Nintendo pretty much screwed me on that. So I had to release it the way I released it. I do apologize for it. But we did do a kind of play by play of it. You can watch that video. It's basically audio with a picture because I had plans to put the actual uh direct vid to it. I could not do that. I do apologize for it, but we did do a play by play.
the best way to listen to it is, it might sound weird, but we used to do this back early in YouTube. If somebody was commentating on something, put the commentary on in one tab, then put the
Yeah.
video that wanted the video that they're commentating on in another. That's how a lot of people avoided copyright claims, and I wonder why they don't do it now. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that way you can still hear both. You can still get everything out of the whole thing. You just decrease the volume of the actual direct a little bit, just enough so you can hear our voices over it, but not so that it would completely kill out the audio.
Yeah. So if
Simple
you
enough.
want to, if you want to do that, by we are not going to get mad at you for that. But
Look,
it,
I just gave y'all a tutorial, and on top of that, you give using Nintendo and us.
yeah,
There's a win.
win-win. Yeah. So, but in that respect, we did have a arms character for Smash get
A
revealed,
hint, a
and
hint.
people got upset. Hey, Shadow man, how you doing, dude?
What's going on, guy?
What's
Just
up?
fine.
Yeah,
How you
y'all,
doing?
y'all got to excuse me. Jermaine Dupri just decided to live stream, and he's playing a whole bunch of old school A Town stuff. So it was going crazy. So me and my wife were dancing to some old school stuff, and I lost track of time there. So
No biggie, man. No biggie. So, since I'm glad you came right on time, my good sir, because I have a question for you, and it involves one of the thickest arms members.
ah,
So,
sounds like the twin tail.
Yeah.
Uh,
So here's the thing. So when the direct came out and they did the whole Smash Brothers 30 seconds of we know where the next character coming from. It's coming from Arms, and then they did the whole giving Arms out for free first look thing, and people just got mad about that.
I don't
So
see what anybody
that's
got mad
just
for, to be honest.
it
yeah,
needed to happen. It needed to happen. Like that's a brand new franchise that started on Switch, and
yeah,
you're
it
gonna
should have been in the
relegate those
first
characters.
pass. It should have been
Exactly.
in the first pass.
You don't relegate those to just spirits. You don't do that. Like
Yeah,
and people are still waiting on Xenoblade also as well. I'm pretty sure, but
that's not
um,
gonna happen.
at least Shulk is there. Like there's
Yeah,
some type of representation. Arms is like largely ignored in that game. So
yeah. Unless you got a me fighter.
yeah, to me that was perfect. So I'm
So
that works for me.
my question, because I enjoy playing Arms. I still play every now and then. I know a lot of people because they try to make it a I don't want to say esports kind of game, but they kind of did
They
try to
did.
do
That
that.
was the
Yeah.
direction that they were headed with it.
Yeah,
This is the
Yeah,
same
they
way
were
they
trying to
built
do
yeah.
because they were doing, you know how they do the invitationals or whatever for Splatoon and all that. So they were trying to do the same thing with Arms, and it just never picked up. Even though the game sold, it just never picked up as far as like a mainstream attention. But
Yeah.
Because people say the game is not good. It sold 2.1 million copies.
yeah,
No,
oh
That
no,
makes the difference.
I could,
it's old.
I could
It's
look.
old.
I could look at that game and say that game is good.
Yeah,
Like
And that
there's no reason. Like there's no way that game is not good. Like you can tell that with the amount of time and effort that they took into making the different gloves for the characters, giving everybody different styles and the special moves. Don't give me that crap.
so to me so that's just one of the things that you have Nintendo haters or pretendos, and my wife's still dancing to the songs in the background over here. She's trying to get my attention. But you know how the old school complaints of Nintendo needs to do new IPs and they just don't
yep.
do original stuff. All they do is Mario and Zelda all the time, blah blah blah. I'm
No,
like,
it's just people.
can't
No, people want to say
Splatoon and
that.
Arms
Mm.
answered that handily. Like we know Pikmin did back in the day when these comments first started, but like you can't say originality isn't there between those two games. That is just I'm, Arms alone is just it's a fighting game. It's not a fighting game. Like and then
It,
the
it's
characters
it's
themselves, like
it's strange to have a long range boxing game.
exactly,
Basically, yeah. Now,
exactly.
there should have been a DLC character for Lil Mac, but we ain't gonna worry about that right now. So that being
Put
said,
Dalsim in there.
yeah. That being said, and I bet you Capcom would do it. It's a Street Fighter
Yeah, they
character.
would.
Capcom would do it. So that being said, do you think they should go with because we already got a me outfit for Ribbon Girl and Spring Man. So who do you think that spot should go to? And if they do a spot, do you think they're gonna just take the top 8 characters and just do it like a villager thing, or do you think they're gonna try and like just say, okay, we just gonna pick this one person and that's it?
I think they're going to do the latter. They're going to do the Fatal Fury scenario where they're going to say, "Hey, look, we're just going to put we'll have an arm stage, and then all the characters will be in the background from there,
Okay.
what have you. And maybe as part of the final smash, a couple of them will show up or what have you.
Like a
But
Dragon
they're
Quest, like the Dragon Quest thing.
yeah, so they'll pick. I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna pick. I At this point, it has to. I personally would love for it to be Twin Tail, but it might end up being Spring Man or Ninja. I can't think his name. Is it Ninjara? Is that how his name
Ninjara,
is?
the one with the
Ninjara.
glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ninjara.
So I'm thinking one of those three. And Spring Man for obvious reasons. He's the default whatever. Spring Man or
Well,
Ribbon Girl.
he's the mascot.
Well, Springman
Yes.
and Ribbon Girl could basically be opposites, like just like costume swaps.
Yeah,
You could
literally.
literally put both of them together. As
Like
Spring
cool.
Man, and then pick your
Like-
alternate three costumes will be a Ribbon Girl.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
just like all the dual gendered characters in Smash.
yeah, but if you do Twin Tail, it's just Twin Tail.
No, if you
And
do
then-
Twin Tail and Ninjara or Min Min, which are the ones I would think that they would pick, it would
Yeah.
be just.
Yeah, they might pick Min Min. It's. I'm thinking Min Min is
have you-
probably lesser known than Spring Man or Ribbon Girl.
No.
A lot of people like her. I'm just saying outside of people that.
Oh
play.
yeah. No,
So-
Twin Tail once they had that direct for Arms.
That was it. It was done. It was
When
done.
they released when they showed up.
And,
Just just do
everybody was doing the Link heavy breathing me.
do a Google image search for Arms Nintendo. That's it. You're gonna
the,
see
the, the
Twintail.
first the first thing you
Yeah,
gonna see is Twin Tail.
Yeah.
yeah, that's the first thing you gonna see. You ain't even gonna see Max Brass or Coil. No, you gonna see
No.
Twin Tail.
Like
You're not gonna see
you
Twin
don't even
Girl.
see you don't see either of the two main characters. You see Twin
Nah,
Tail.
you see Twin Tail. So I
But
take
but
it.
Min ain't that far down that list. That's why I think
No,
she's
she's a
so strong.
popular character in the game too, especially online. So it's just as far as popular culture goes, Twintel is it. Um,
She's the
but
only arms character that don't actually use her arms.
yes, but Ribbon Girl and Spring Man are literally on the covers, so
Yeah,
it's kind of hard. It's difficult.
but
So
at the
I'm,
same time, they gave them me costumes. So I'm like, I don't see why they would. That would be kind of.
That would defeat the purpose.
yeah,
Yeah, that would be kind of stupid. And
That's the
I
only reason
understand.
I don't think they would do. They would be in there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to gauge which one is gonna be. Personally, I think it's probably gonna be one of the female characters, just because I'm pretty sure they didn't heard people say there's not enough female representation, which
yeah.
I believe BS. But that's just me.
But
I
then, but
like
then,
there's a lot
but
of
but and then we also have people complaining that there's not really any black characters in Smash. So Twin
Well,
Tail would kind of cover
cover both of those. Yeah,
both of them. Pretty
Nintendo refused to finish Project Hammer, so I don't know what else to.
yeah,
I mean, that's the closest we got.
that's the
So,
closest we got.
I mean, TJ combo, but then they sold Rare, so
Yeah,
there's nothing. There's nothing else. I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, Black Inkling, yeah, that's as close as you're gonna get. So
yeah.
they don't really have. Nintendo has to do that though. I think at some point going forward, Twintel is
Honestly,
about the closest, but she's technically French.
Yeah,
she's
So
still
French.
black.
Yeah. She's
You
still
yeah,
can be
black though.
black. You can be French black.
yeah,
Surrey Bonally.
definitely.
But I have a feeling. I have a feeling that the Astral Chain twins might show up in there too.
Yes, and they are definitely dark skinned in my game.
Yeah.
They are in mine too. uh, so that being said, Shadow, I'm taking it whenever they do the anime short for Arms, you're gonna be watching that.
Almost definitely, yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
because you know she's gonna be in there.
She has to be.
Oh yeah, it is.
No.
She's isn't she like? I'm trying to think. Isn't she like she's like a model or something, right?
Yes,
In
supposed to be
there?
like
She's literally a
Like-
model.
She's a model sitting here fighting people with her hair.
hair.
Yes,
Yeah, her hair,
yes,
and it's natural.
yes. So how do they? I guess they have to do something. If they announce her,
If they
have to
announce it, they should
announce-
do something with Bayonetta.
yeah, exactly.
There's no way.
Oh yeah, dude, that would be
Gotta
so.
announce it with Bayonetta. Gotta do it.
That
Gotta
would
do
be
it.
so
There's
funny.
no way
Next
it can't
ad back to back, like
two women that beat the hell out of you with their hair.
Yeah.
and after she beats her win animation would be her sipping tea,
Yep.
and that's it.
So
So
now I will need a Sakurai direct for that, just so he can troll people again.
yes,
I love Sakurai trolling people when
See,
they
this
pretend
game
they
is so difficult while
Yeah.
he's in there finessing everybody on the hardest difficulty.
but knowing him, he would do something like show a Metroid Prime 4 trailer and then
Yeah.
turn it into Smash somehow.
Yeah.
Like you just think you think it's Samus in the whole time, and then she just turns into Twin Tail, and you're like,
Yeah.
what the? Yeah, that's how they.
I could see him doing something where Bayonetta was fighting some angels and stuff in like a Smash Run type setup, and Twin Tail kind of gives her a helping hand at the last minute where she just couldn't prepare a move in time. You just see the fist coming to the screen.
And Bayonetta's like, darling, where'd you get those shoes from? And
Yeah,
it's just
something crazy.
It's one of the things, man. It's one of the things.
Man, I love the way Sakurai trolls people, because I ain't gonna lie, that one he did for Rosalina when we all thought Kirby was gonna be in Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he had all of us fool.
It was
Like,
that
oh,
one,
you gonna
and
put
the
Kirby
one
in
that-
Mario Kart? This is gonna be dope. Wait a minute, what?
Then the one that he
Rosalina.
did, the one that he did for Lil Mac, where it looked like it was a damn Punch Out announcement. I was
Yeah.
so bad. I was like,
Yeah,
"How
that's
you
good
gonna
stuff.
do this, man? How you gonna hurt my feelings like this?"
Now the K rule And the
Oh, yeah.
banjo ones were hilarious because they trolled on both ends. So the K. Rool one straight up looked like Banjo Kazooie, and then the banjo one is just like, yeah, we're just out of nowhere. Just go ahead and show you. We're gonna give it to you anyway, even though we trolled you earlier.
Yeah.
Because I mean, people really thought it wasn't coming because the troll was so strong with K. Rool.
Yeah.
So
That to me, that's what told me he was going to be in there. I just didn't know when.
Well, that's
because
the
they
thing.
put it.
Like he does it too well. Like Sakurai does it entirely too well. And on the subject of trolls, who you think the troll character from the fight for the second fighter pass gonna be? Me personally, I'm going for the Goomba.
Look, I'm looking at either Goomba or Hammer Bros.
Dude,
Oh
Hammer,
my
he
god!
made
Hammer.
Piranha Plant. Dude, he put Piranha Plant in the damn game.
Yes,
All bets
that's
are off.
legit.
All bets are off. I wouldn't be surprised if Bullet Bill is the character.
Bullet Bill might
Bullet
work.
Bill with some legs.
Yeah.
Bullet Bill. Put a Bullet Bill in there. And that's crazy because Piranha Plant was an item before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
crazy. So I
And
mean,
then it,
all bets are off. Like it could be anything.
yeah, then it mysteriously disappeared, and then the next thing you know,
Yep.
we get a character.
It could be King Boo. It could be anything at
Yeah,
this
that's why
point.
I'm like, I'm wondering who the troll character, because especially when he said it was gonna be 6 instead of 5, I'm like, okay, somebody's a troll character.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Somebody is a troll character. So I just want to know which one it is.
So I'm hoping Sakurai doesn't
Ooh.
troll me and show a shadow of Ryu Hayabusa, and instead of it being him,
This is gonna be
it's
Beautiful Joe.
yeah, or a claptrap or some shit.
A claptrap. That
Oh,
would be
man.
funny. That
That
would be so funny.
That would be funny.
Can you
A clap.
imagine the amount of people
Oh,
mad about that?
Claptrap
or
has his own Gaiden. That would be the title. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, come on. Come
that,
on.
that would be funny and horrible at the same time.
But I wouldn't put it past him. I really wouldn't. At this
But
point, I
the
wouldn't.
one
So.
character I think might end up in there is the lead character from Dragalia Lost Uden.
Oh, okay.
Well, people have been saying he should have been in the first pass.
Yeah, he should have
People were
been.
saying that he should have been in the first pass, and he wasn't, which I thought didn't make a whole lot of sense because I'm like, okay, if if he's one of those games that people have been talking about, like, why wouldn't you put him in?
Yeah.
I think it's just because they had already decided the lineup for the first pass already.
Oh, okay.
That's probably why. Because the second pass, you can clearly tell that they were thinking about this the whole time they were putting that first one out. So they had time to decide on these characters. And Uden would be literally a combination of Link, Corrin, and there's one more character I'm thinking of. Link and Corrin most definitely because he's got basically all of Link's moves, but he can do the dragon transformations. And maybe Marth. Marth is the only thing because he has counter moves too, like in the game. So
well, he can't go in because that's another Fire Emblem character.
no, see, the bad thing is that the daggone world of Dragalia Lost is just like Fire Emblem, where these people are fucking dragons and having children.
Yeah, man. It's a weird world. It's a weird world, but you need a lineage.
Weird fantasy world.
Look, Nintendo needs to go in and release that Fire Emblem anime so they can go in and get these people that's been watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah, just go ahead.
On and get it so y'all can just
give it to Madhouse and say, go ahead.
It would need to be live action.
No,
With
animated.
supermodels.
No,
animated.
Animated.
It's animated. Do not do that live action. I do not want to see that. Just do
especially when companies having trouble doing the dragon and freaking Iron Fist. There's no goddamn way
Yeah,
they're going to do all the
effects
dragons.
bad.
There's no way they're going to be doing all the dragons from freaking Fire Emblem. Nope.
I was thinking more all of the begodding that happens in those games.
Yeah.
Look, if Castlevania taught us anything, they are not afraid to put that in an anime.
Yeah, that definitely would be there. That definitely would
Woo, boy, especially when it's weird.
Yeah.
By the way, if you haven't had a chance to, please check out me and Andre's review of Castlevania Season 3. So, that being said, I would love to. I don't understand why they wouldn't capitalize off of people with the Game of Thrones hangover, because that would have been the first thing I would have did.
I'm like, we talked about this years ago. That was one of the first things they should have thought about when they decided they were going to do that little bit of Star Fox, and
Fox,
like
yeah.
Yeah,
they
do
need
it
to
right
do
after
Star
that.
Fox. They need to do Star Fox. They need to give us the Smash anime. They need to do a Kid Icarus anime. They need to do a Fire Emblem anime. There's so much potential, and I'm like, y'all just. And we
And
know Nintendo wants to expand their market and stuff like that, and this is the best way to do it.
that's the perfect way to do it and keep your franchises alive. So you can have like, okay, so say you finally figured out what you want to do with Kid Icarus. Have an anime season and have the game roll into it.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, Kid Icarus Uprising had 3 anime shorts, 3 of them. So
And two out of the three of them, Pit was getting ripped on.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. So
I,
I mean,
they need to go back to that. I would definitely be a constant consumer of that type of material. So
But see, that's the thing. They already got the Nintendo Online service. All they got to do is get these animes produced and make it exclusive to their service.
if you
That
yeah,
would
think people
that
won't buy
so you
that,
see people picking up Switches and
I mean they already watching YouTube like crazy on there anyway. Like half of my friends list is watching YouTube, and I'm like, that ain't
why?
built into your TV already. Okay,
yeah,
whatever. Well, but you think about it too. Like people were there's something anywhere in the house, and they're watching it just on the native screen. So
yeah,
it,
that's
it
true.
kind of makes sense, I
Yeah,
guess.
but that's what I'm saying. If they went ahead and did as a bonus to having the Nintendo Online service, have the Nintendo Anime service.
Yep,
Simple
I
as that.
mean, they were literally doing that on Nintendo Channel. They were doing
they
that.
were.
Like
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
worked.
they had the Pikmin videos
the
and everything
Pikmin
on there.
shorts, yeah, the Pikmin shorts are actually funny.
They were funny, and
Yeah,
Miyamoto directed those.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, have your big Hollywood movies. Do that way, but y'all can have your own little anime specials that you populate your service with.
yeah. And if you think people won't buy that, then they found a lot of good service things to say about it. Then
I would say Nintendo doesn't have to contract Disney. But what they could do is work with a good animation house,
Madhouse,
They
preferably the
got
house that did Bayonetta's and anime,
Madhouse.
Madhouse.
and just have John Lasseter direct it. Just contract him directly. You don't have to go through Disney,
Yep.
and
or
you
or or
it'd be
or
perfect.
or they could come get me. I'd happily set these. I'd happily get the ball rolling on several of these
Because
productions.
actually, now that I think about it, that would be like the perfect way to bring in like your main games. Like we got Breath of the Wild 2 that's supposed to be coming soon,
Yep.
sometime either this year or next year.
Anime.
Breath of the Wild 2 coming. You do an anime, let's do like a 10 episode anime on your service in the lead up to the game.
Yeah,
Yes. Like I would subscribe to the service just to watch continued anime of Damon X Machina.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
would
that
watch that.
that was a good one.
But
That
this is like in another sneaky way they could set this up, and I wish that Konami was smart enough to do it because I said that they should have done this when they did the first 2 seasons of Castlevania, but contract out Skybound and get Telltale's game series made for the story that
Mm.
curtails to the story that fits between the seasons.
okay,
Yes, that'll work too.
that makes
That way they
sense.
could still
Because it
make
worked
more
well
money off
for
of
Walking
it.
Dead. It worked
Yeah,
real well for that.
they could still make more money off of it that way. And on top of that, this now gets people invested. They have to watch the online service to get the main part of the story going, and then they have to play the game to get the little in between bits. They may not be as important, but there'll be enough people that'll be interested, and they'll go ahead and be like, okay, I'll drop 20 on that.
If you take those Telltale games and you make them exclusive to the Nintendo Switch Online or whatever, right? Um, and then two pronged approach. Also have those games in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store, but you can only sign in with your Nintendo account.
Yep.
Point.
Done.
Yep. Yep.
They make a crap ton of money.
Apple, Google will jump on that.
Yeah, they
Yes.
would, because look, anything Nintendo makes them money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Apple's like, you're gonna sell a game for $10? Oh my god, they did it! Like it's just
Yeah.
But just to put a note, I did make a video on this very concept in my Pitch for Switch series on my channel. So if you want to check that out, go ahead.
the Swami.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
mean,
that
yeah, might as well sneak it in there.
yeah, hey, dude. we do all our own recommendations during the podcast. So yes,
Yes,
during the podcast
most definitely.
we do our
Shameless
own recommendations,
plugs.
shameless plugs,
Hey,
all that.
look, man, you might as well shamelessly plug everything. Shoot.
Yeah.
Yep. So, um, that being said, the last thing we're gonna talk about for this episode. Okay, so everybody know about how Rona is acting up. Rona, she off the chain,
Yeah.
boy. Woo. So basically, we got a lot of delays. Last of Us 2 got delayed indefinitely, even though I think the, the their reasoning is kind of stupid once you actually read it and hear it and
It's
you
not
play it back
ready.
in your head. Their reasoning makes no sense just due to the nature of how the gaming industry is right now. That really makes that doesn't make any sense when you think about it. But I
They're saying
understand.
logistics for a game
Yeah,
is probably going to be 100 gigs and you're going to download digitally anyway.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I
Yep.
said it doesn't make sense when you think about it. But when they first said it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense if you're getting it physical, and because logistically it would be a nightmare to try to push this thing out right now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Logistically it would be a nightmare, but this ain't the early
because it's not Animal
2000s.
Crossing.
Yeah, this ain't the early 2000s and late 90s where that's the only way you had to get your game out. If your
Yeah.
game is done like you claim it is, just deliver the damn thing digital.
The problem isn't that they can't do it. The problem is that they are contracted and they can't break their
Yeah,
contract.
with brick and mortar.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's their
but
problem.
see, I that's it.
And that's a
That's why I
Sony
said
thing.
like when you think about it, when you actually sit back and think about it, it's like okay, that doesn't make sense. That's the PR move, but it doesn't make sense because you're like, dude, we live in a digital world. Most of these games are available digitally. You can't really say that we can't release it. You can go in and release it if you want to. They can
But
still get their stuff. They just gonna have to get it later.
Naughty Dog throwing Sony under the bus and saying we
Yeah,
can't
they.
release this game because Walmart, Best Buy, and GameStop will sue us simultaneously.
Yeah.
Like saying that out loud is probably not the best take.
Nah,
So
Uh,
they gotta
it
come
would
up with
not
whatever
get
they
them.
can come up.
yeah.
They'd be like, look, we cannot betray our partners in this
But
endeavor, so we just gotta stick it out and wait.
well, here's the other thing too. I honestly think the game ain't ready.
That
And
probably
It
like
is.
isn't. It isn't.
and like a good friend of ours, Mrs. T of the Mrs. T show said, I think they should have went on and put this on. This should have been a PS5. This should have just been a PS5 release.
And
It's
it's
I,
gonna
probably it's
be.
going to
It's
be
gonna be
it's
one.
going to be
It's
it's going to be
just
a
yeah,
cross gen release.
the
yeah,
PS5 ain't ready either, which is
yeah.
a
But that,
whole nother
well,
story.
that's a whole nother story. And but you know what? We can talk about that in this because I I keep telling. I know people. I know Sony and Microsoft said they're coming out this year. No, the hell they're not.
With all this stuff that's going on,
No,
those are
no, they're
Microsoft
not.
said they're using Global Foundries. Global Foundries has not confirmed the order for the year.
yeah. Even still, even if they got somebody working on putting the bills together now, distributing this is going to be a nightmare
And,
this year.
and
yeah,
Global Foundries is down the street. So imagine like TSMC or anybody else like overseas,
yeah. Like
doing stuff for Sony
you
is
can't get
not.
stuff in. Not
Mm,
right now. You can't.
No,
So
it's going to
you're
take
probably
too
not gonna be able to get nothing in until like August, July, August.
And
if
there's
then,
no way they are getting millions of units
Yeah,
put together and shipped out to all the stores that need to have them in that short a period of time. They need to just say, look, we'll delay it until spring of 2021.
yeah. And on top of that, if you do it until spring of 2021, guess what? It'll probably look a little bit better for you because you don't have to worry about putting it on this fiscal year. Since this fiscal year is going to be effed
yep,
up for you anyway because of Rona. You can
Yeah,
put
yep.
it to the
do it
next
next
year.
year.
Yeah, it'll go on next year, so you can actually have a full calendar year
Hmm.
instead of
If they
November,
launch these
December,
in
January.
November, this will be the worst launch release
Ever.
numbers for
Well,
any of those companies.
and the other thing too is most of the factories are over in China that makes these games and that make these systems. And guess what? They just went back to work like a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Hey,
And it doesn't line up with their fiscal year either because their
Yeah.
fiscal years are in March.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so
So
it's
it,
just stupid right now.
yeah,
It is
yeah.
really
I know some people.
stupid.
Some people in America think that they're gonna be able to play. I don't think that. I mean, I would love to be proven wrong, but the thing is, if they do, it's gonna be probably
It's
bad
going to be
numbers for their
sparse. It's
investors.
going to be sparse. The,
it's
the
Yeah.
gonna be
numbers
real
are
bad.
real
Yeah.
sparse.
So I don't think like my thing is just do what just move it to spring of next year.
And on top of that, like, come on, tax return.
Yep.
That's why the Switch
Yeah.
sold so well early on
Yep.
Yeah.
tax returns.
Tax returns.
Everybody could afford it when it came out.
It was like,
Yeah.
oh, hold up.
Well,
Like,
you,
tax returns?
Well, next year your tax return might not be looking so good if everything.
Oh well, yeah. Well,
Just
depending on
saying.
other things.
Yeah,
But
but
that's the better chance
yeah,
because
that is
trying to do it before Christmas season, especially this year, the way
it's
things are going, people are going to be focusing on necessities far more
Yep.
than they're going to be worried about entertainment.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
here's
wild one.
what's going to be said in the black family household. Play that old stuff you already got.
Yep.
No, you ain't
Look,
getting nothing. You ain't got nothing new. Do I see new grades? I don't see no
Yep.
new grades.
look, unless you pulling straight A's
Yeah.
and got a part time job,
You ain't getting
nah,
nothing.
you ain't getting
Yep.
nothing.
No,
Because
nah.
the average working family, they're not. It's not happening.
It's
They
just
they
it's
got other
not
Now
stuff to
this
worry about.
it's
now
not
this year
feasible this year. It really is not.
you better play that game with that PS4 Pro I brought you
Yep.
2 years ago. You
Look
Yeah.
good?
So
at that point, they lucky that they even got that.
Yeah, you're lucky
like
you got that.
the Xbox and the GameCube almost didn't get launched in 2001 because of 9/11.
Yeah,
So and their numbers were really low because of that. So
those numbers
it's
are horrible.
yeah, real bad. So like if
You
you
do
think
not want to
about
pair.
what this is doing comparatively, like this is exponentially worse. So yeah, financially it's gonna be a hard road to hoe come November. So
You do not want to pair a console launch with a pandemic.
nah,
No,
It's just not a good idea.
no. I
especially when
mean,
you have it affects the logistics, it affects the economy itself, and it affects the welfare and the health of your employees too. Because if you got to launch this thing, you got to do a tour.
And
yep,
on top of that, it affects the health and welfare of your customers.
Yes,
yep.
that as well.
So
Which
this
You
is
can't
all
sell
around
nothing.
screwed.
You can't sell nothing. Somebody's dead.
yes, and you can't deliver a console digitally either. You got to
No,
physically go pick that up.
I mean unless you're Google Stadia.
Ew. Yeah,
Let's
we'll
not
mail you
talk
a
about that.
controller in 3 weeks. Like, oh
Yeah.
god, get
Let's
out of
not
here.
talk about that failure.
But I don't think that Last of Us 2 is the only thing that's getting delayed. Thankfully, there was some other games that went on and got delayed earlier this year, like Cyberpunk 2077. That may still get on time. May
Yeah,
still hit on time in September, just because you can still work on that, even though you're working from home. You can still work on that and do
Yeah.
your
yeah.
particular part of it. So, but I think there's going to be more delays. I don't think. I think
Outer Worlds is still coming in the summer though. I think that won't be
well,
physical though. I'm
yeah, it's
thinking
not. I think a lot of these games that people that are gonna make their time are not gonna be physical. Like some of these games don't need to be exactly physical
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
because like half of the game is
This
coming on
is
the thing, and then like here's what I don't understand. Okay, even with like Sony and Microsoft and their proprietary Blu-ray disc, you only get half the game on the disc, and the rest of
yes,
it's on
yeah,
thing. So why don't you just download it anyway?
yeah.
Like don't even say, I understand people love physical, but the whole game ain't on the physical
yeah. It's not
thing
even the same
anyway.
anymore. It's not the
It's
same.
no, it's not. Yeah, you have a physical disc, but guess what? The whole game ain't on it. You think Red Dead Redemption has a 100 gig freaking disc? No, it doesn't.
My
It has.
last physical non Nintendo game was God of War for PS4. I will not buy any more physical, like even going forward, because the way these consoles are going forward is going to be the same problem.
Yeah,
So,
uh,
It's just more efficient and easier just to download.
yeah.
yep,
And you don't
Switch
have to worry
cartridge or
about.
bust.
Yeah, and even the Switch games, some depending on who you get. Like for instance, I have Mortal Kombat 11. I went in when I heard what they did with Mortal Kombat 11. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll just download it because
Hmm.
you ain't gonna put half of the game on the thing, and I still have to download it. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Nah, especially not that. It's a fighting game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's not even like an open world or anything like that. So I don't see why. Yeah,
Mm.
whatever. But that being said, hopefully, stuff gets better um, sooner rather than later. I'm trying to be an optimist.
Mm.
so
In
the
this
other
way.
thing is the 64 gig cards aren't out yet, but the 32 gig cards have gotten cheaper.
Yeah.
So I don't
Well, a lot of
know.
stuff gotten cheaper.
Yeah, I don't know what Nintendo's doing as far as the mass round for those, as far as telling people individually, like telling individual publishers, how they can bulk order these things. But the price has dropped for
Yeah.
extra ROM, so it's only gonna be a matter of time before those cartridges start.
Yeah, cause isn't the what is it, the 500 gig? cards are the ones that are the expensive ones now because everything else then went cheaper.
Yeah, so there's a so the problem isn't with the flash modules themselves. The problem is since Macronix makes extra ROM and it's kind of proprietary, they kind of meld MLC and SOC flash together, and they put their own custom read-only ROM on it
Ah,
for high bandwidth.
Mm.
okay.
It's them getting high yields on those and being able to sell that at a profit. That's what's taking so long. They went from a 10 nanometer size, I think, that, and now they're finally down to like 7. So,
Hmm.
and they originally started at like 22. So it's just really hard for them to create modules that are small enough to do at a higher yield so they can get the right capacity on there, because they're not just taking existing flash, they're making their own custom boards to make this stuff happen, because you have a flash module, you have a custom controller on there, and you have a custom mass ROM on top of it that creates the entire unit. So them doing that together is at a smaller node process is what's taking so long, and they were able to do it for 32 gigs at the time, but it was prohibitively expensive per yield or what have you. So only like a couple of games did it, like stuff they knew they would sell a lot of, like Dragon Quest, that was 32 gigs.
Yeah.
But you're like Capcom, I'm guessing they thought they wouldn't be able to afford it, so no Resident Evil 7 for you, I guess. So, but that's just kind of the situation that we're in now. So in Japan, they're streaming games instead of that. So,
It makes
I mean,
sense in
yeah,
a
I mean,
way. In a
it's
way.
either that or you have to do a mandatory download, and that already isn't a good thing over here. Like, people would do it for 2K because everybody does anything for 2K. Like if it
For some
was
reason, for
yeah,
some
if it
odd
was Grand
reason.
Theft Auto, it wouldn't be a problem. Like if they announced Grand Theft Auto for Switch and it was 8 gig cart and 100 gig download, everybody would still buy it.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh
just
yeah, they'd be like, hey, look, like,
Except me. Except
they'd be like, look, man, I got my 250 gigabyte SD card right here.
yep.
Select this in my system, and then I get that game.
I mean, I personally, I would like all my game to be on the cart, but I understand, that some things, it's for the factors of third party and them not believing in compression at all. Some things are beyond Nintendo's control, so
yeah,
they're
that's
just
Which
like,
is, which is ridiculous because Nintendo can compress stuff,
yes,
that makes no sense. It,
and
it
it looks
literally makes no
it
sense.
looks all it looks pretty much as good as the non-compressed stuff that everybody else puts out. So I'm like, if I was one of the third parties, I'd be like, hey Nintendo, can y'all teach us how to do this?
Yeah, because I
Make our
still
file
don't.
size smaller.
I still don't get like how like Breath of the Wild is only, was it 12 gigs?
I think it's 14 after all the updates, so
Yeah.
like
So I'm like, what the? But you get something like Destiny or like
that's Nintendo's biggest game other than
the
Tropical Freeze.
yeah. So you get the Destiny or Division and it's like 88 to 110,
Yep.
and you're like, I don't understand how they did that. But I'm not complaining because I save space. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's down to a lot of compression techniques that he taught everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, and so now Sony and Microsoft are trying to do it too. So there's a new compression algorithm that Sony's doing on the fly, and the only reason why they're doing it is because they're forced to, because the SSD isn't as fast as RAM. Like I keep trying to tell people, I'll eventually, at some point, I'm going to update my channel with my reviews. Pay attention. I'm gonna do my own shameless plug here, but I'll review both the specs of the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 as we know of them. But part of that issue is they're pimping that you're going to have an SSD and then your load times are going to be almost instantaneous.
They,
For that to happen,
they have to compress for that.
yes, they have to do real time compression on the fly, and they're throwing that at shaders on the GPU itself. So they'll run through pages of multiply ads on the actual GPU itself to open up more bandwidth. So you compress, um, you go from having 2 gigabytes per second write to 5 gigabytes per second write with compression. Um, the only issue with that is 5 gigabytes per second is still not 560 gigabytes per second, which is what the total RAM bandwidth is for those systems. So at some point, you're still going to run into a bottleneck where, hey, I'm holding data over here, and the RAM is like, I'm waiting on you, bruh. And that's, I think that for for current games right now, we'll see that benefit immediately. When they develop these games and they try to bring them over and port them for these new systems, we'll see that benefit immediately. But as soon as they start developing games to take advantage of that hardware that's there, we're gonna go right back to square one.
You,
So
you know what, Shadow? That does it, man. I'm gonna do what everybody on Twitter says that you do. I'm going to debate you, man, over Killer Instinct. Why are we playing Killer Instinct? How about that? Debate? No, I'm playing.
that's oh god, that's two things for me: the debate and Killer Instinct. Yes, that's my entire channel right there. There you go.
Yes,
I think we can let it go on that one.
yes, people. If you follow Shadow, he gets he gets people trying to debate him every week, and they always hide. I think it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Uh,
It's so hilarious.
I like the dudes we had the debate with about whether the Switch is 8th or ninth gen, and
Yeah.
their logic is completely flawed because Nintendo's worried about efficiency of their consoles, not power.
Yep.
Because if the next console comes out from Nintendo and it doesn't have the performance of even the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X, why would that be? Would that be ninth generation, or would it be eighth generation?
I'm sorry. Isn't generation
They
due to
backwards.
time?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
Not
time.
it's due to time, but
That's
that's
time
okay.
for
All
me.
right.
we would
Time
Well,
for
all.
me.
here's the thing. Here's the thing that I think about when I think about console generation. I think console generation depends on that particular console
It
manufacturer.
depends on the
Yes.
brand. Yeah.
It doesn't depend on the industry as a whole. So yes, Nintendo
Their
switches their ninth generation.
seventh, their
No,
seventh on console, ninth
look,
generation.
That's their ninth generation.
I've done a video
X,
explaining this.
Xbox One and PS4 Pro are.
The eighth generation.
Come
They're
on, people. You're right
they're
there. You're right there. Come on, you
candy
got
consoles.
it. So
But for anybody interested, and again, this is another shameless plug. I've done a talk for this particular reason to explain that.
Yes.
I mean,
And y'all
it's not.
saw the Wikipedia argument back and forth
Oh, dude,
with
that was
where they were
hilarious.
Yeah.
where at one
That was.
point in time it was ninth generation and they took it off. Then they had to delete the entire generations of consoles category because they added the ninth generation category. And then they were talking about the PlayStation 5 or whatever the next Xbox would be, and they had the Nintendo. Somebody added the Nintendo Switch on there, so they deleted the entire category and then had to fight about where should Nintendo Switch be, and then they just deleted it all together.
I'm
So
like,
now
bro.
there's no ninth generation of consoles per Wikipedia now because of that discussion back in 2018.
Yeah, which, man, it ain't that serious. Are you enjoying your games? Are you enjoying your games? Are you playing anything? Are you playing anything? I mean, because me personally, I've been playing a lot of demos lately, as you can tell if you watch the Let's Talk playlist on my
Yes,
current YouTube channel.
man. Bravely Default
So,
is hard, man, but it's so great. It's so
but you
good.
gotta get look. Because here's the thing: with the things that I learned with Bravely Default, and we're about to get out of here, people. So just bear with me for about 2 more minutes. Um, the thing about Bravely Default that I've learned is they put you in a situation where you are not properly leveled to fight in some of this stuff. So
Yep,
once you spend a little time grinding, oh, you gonna come back and beat the dog crap out of some of these things,
yep.
dude.
Oh
They
yeah,
gonna,
you will.
you
But
gonna
see,
have
I'm hard
to
headed, so I refuse to grind. So I'm like, let me
and,
figure out how I can pimp this system to eventually do this.
and
And then
then
I
you
do
get your
things
ass.
like you fight the boss, and then you just hang around long enough until he runs out of MP, and then
Yeah,
he can't recover his MP, so you just well up.
yeah, but because the people that was cheating for me was them damn wolves. When you
Yes.
doing that side quest for them wolves,
Yep.
that I'm like, hold on. First of all, I saw you. You didn't go into default. How you got five turns on me?
Yep.
You
And
did
this
not default. So yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things. But that being said, if you want to check out some of my thoughts on some of those actual demos that came out from the Switch Direct last week, please check the Let's Talk playlist.
ah
So that being said, Andre, you got anything you want to pimp out?
Nah, not anything specifically. It's just whatever I have coming up. So
All right, cool. All right, Shadow, what about you, man?
finally at 1,000 subs. Appreciate you guys. So now I can do my promise. No, I'm not monetizing my channel. It's still gonna be free. That was literally that push for on 1K was literally just so I can make posts on YouTube to let you know when I have an upcoming video. That's literally what it was about.
Yep.
So yeah, go to my channel, subscribe, like whatever, dislike if you want to. I don't care. I mean, it gets me the same type of recognition via Google anyway. So yeah, just look on there, and since I can send posts now, you'll know when I update certain stuff. I've got 2 videos coming for the new consoles coming forward. Um, I had to re-record those multiple times, so you'll see them soon. I'll have the content soon. A lot of that stuff had to do with new information coming out that Digital Foundry didn't talk about. So I'll go into that in detail. And yeah, if you're a tech head, you'll get a wealth of information. If not, you may be a little bit confused, but I'll try to break it down as easily as possible for the majority of people out there. So other than that, do you play games to have fun or to impress other people? Ninth generation.
And so I'm probably gonna be having some. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do my streaming thing. I may go back to Twitch to do streaming and just put my pre-recorded gameplay vids on my YouTube channel. That being said, I'll let you guys know when I do that because I'm playing with Streamlabs now, just so I can figure out how to do some things to help in that. Other than that, I'll probably be putting up some gameplay vids of something. I have no idea yet, but putting up some gameplay.
Killer Instinct.
I can do that because I actually haven't played Killer Instinct in a while, so I do need to jump back on my Xbox for a little bit. So I'm probably gonna do some of that. I am playing Soul Calibur, but Soul Calibur 6 hurts my heart because it reasons. I'll do a less talk on that. But yeah, I'll do a less talk on that because that game's hurting my heart for various reasons. And I still haven't picked up Dead or Alive 6 because I just every time I look at Dead or Alive 6, I look at they always try to throw the freaking season pass on me, and I'm like, I'm not spending $93 for that bullshit.
Yeah,
So
that's they
I'll
did
play
that
for
with Dead or Alive 5. Like, what are you
I'll
doing?
pay for the regular game. I'll pay for the regular game, but I ain't paying for no
Mm-mm.
not for
If I
no.
can't unlock it later on, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look, you already don't want to give me Extreme Beach Volleyball because reasons.
Yeah.
And so just let me have my fighting game in peace. That in Koei Tecmo, I want to give y'all a lot of praise for Ultimate Marvel Alliance 3. I love the Doctor Doom epilogue short story that y'all have done, but I really need that Ninja Gaiden 4. So yeah.
About that.
Yeah. So, but hey, look, I'm glad that y'all actually set it up for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4. So just do Ninja Gaiden first, then
Yes.
do Marvel Ultimate Alliance,
It'll
and add
got
more
the
X Men,
Empire.
and add more X Men,
Yes.
please. There you go.
Psylocke needs buddies.
Yeah. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed our vid. The Winging It podcast episode for this week. Please leave a comment. Let us know what anime from video games should be made, not live action, but anime. Please no live action, just anime. So let us know what you guys thought. What games are you going to be playing since we're pretty much in delayed quarantine mode? And we will see you guys on the next vid. Wakanda forever.
Deuces.
Peace out, everybody.